Hello my friends, and welcome back. In today's video, I will be responding to a request that was made by a commenter on this earlier NixOS video, which walked you through how to set up a NixOS VM on Hetzner Cloud. My new friend Vextium asked, is it possible to have a similar sort of guide, but on Hetzner Robot using a dedicated server? And the answer is yes, of course it is. And that is what today's video is all about. So if you are not already familiar, Hetzner also has this robot service. And this robot service is geared towards offering bare metal servers. So these are not virtual machines, they are actual physical servers. For today's tutorial, I've gone ahead and ordered the AX41 NVMe. It is an AMD machine with lots of RAM and two 512GB NVMe SSDs, which are set up in software RAID 1. We are going to preserve this software RAID 1 in our tutorial as well. As always, we have a very handy starter template for this, so go ahead and clone this out and be ready to follow along. It's very much in the spirit of the last two starter templates. One was for WSL, one was for Hetzner Cloud, and it's geared around putting together a terminal-powered development environment, and that terminal editor that it's built around is LunaVim. I think we'll skip setting up LunaVim today since we've already done that on two previous videos, which you should definitely check out if you would like to install LunaVim on NixOS. So, on to the quick start. Order a server, done and done. We have this server as I mentioned, and we are going to be setting software RAID 1 on those two NVMe SSDs. You're going to want to go through all of the fix me notices, make changes wherever you would like, just as we did in the previous tutorials, and of course do not forget to set your SSH public key because you're not going to get very far if you're not able to log in. So we want to make sure that we have activated the Hetzner rescue system. So you come over here to your server, you go to rescue, select your SSH key, then you activate the rescue system. However, there is one more step. After that, you need to go over to the reset tab and order an automated hardware reset. In order to save time, I already did this in advance. Just to show you what that looks like, I am going to SSH into the server as root. And here you can see we are in the Hetzner rescue system, and it gives us some information about our system here, that we have an AMD processor, we have 64 gigs of RAM, and we have two drives, NVMe 0N1 and NVMe 1N1. Now, if you are following along this tutorial for a machine that has maybe a different number of disks, differently named disks, you will need to come into the disk config, and you'll have to set them up. Here I have a disk called 1, which is this device that we have here. I also have a disk called 2, which is this device here, this second device. And then I come down here and I say, okay, we want RAID level 1. So be mindful that you cannot just copy and apply this to any server. For example, this will not work on an Intel server, and it may not also work if you have more than 2 or less than 2, right? So you're going to have to go in and make those manual tweaks. But for now, we are at a point where we're ready to run the big command that does all the things. Though before I do that, I do want to quickly walk you through the diff. And the diff is what I have changed according to the fix me notices. So I'm going to do git diff head. We can see that in the flake.nix file, I removed this fix me. If there are any insecure packages that you absolutely need, instead of enabling all insecure packages, just add the one you need. It's a lot safer. Then I changed the hostname to robot. I changed the username to GZ. And then in home.nix, I uncommented the secrets. I thought this time we'd try pulling in some secrets because I haven't done that on the previous 2 tutorials, and I figured it's about time. In order to speed things up a little bit, I just commented out all of the packages so that we don't have to install them the first time. But do go through these and see what is useful for you. I use Rust, I use Go, I use Lua. I use all of this stuff, so I have it all in here. I like to have it with me whenever I bring up a remote server or a remote VM. Just saves me a lot of time, And of course, the language servers I use, the formatters, the linters, rather. You get it. Then, these fix me's around the editor and the shell. I'm gonna keep, NeoVim, I'm gonna keep Z shell because I enjoy using them. Of course, Starship, that makes our prompt look beautiful and fills it with lots of very pertinent information. Fuzzy Finder, of course we're keeping. How else are we going to navigate large directory trees on the command line? I filled in some dummy data on the git config. I'm showing you how to pull in secrets and inject them into the generated config. Here, we haven't done that previously. I think it's worth doing it at least once. This is my Z shell config, again generated from Nix. Nobody has complained about it in the previous tutorials, so I'm guessing you all like it as much as I do. And then finally in the Linux file, we're keeping Z shell again because we love Z shell. I removed Docker because I'm not setting up Docker. I don't particularly need it. And it's just going to add more stuff for us to install, which makes it longer. I've added my SSH public key here. This is the public key for my user, and I believe the user is set to GZ. And further down in the Nix settings, we can set the access tokens that we have for GitHub and GitLab. And this is to get around rate limits. And this gets put, I believe, into the nix.conf file that is generated. Finally, we go on to robot, which is where we set the SSH public key for the root account. Very important, once again. And I've just added some dummy values here at the bottom for the GitHub and GitLab tokens, just to show that they get passed through at the end. Alright, let's go ahead and run this big ol' command. So we're just going to put in our IP address. We're going to target robot, and we're going to log in as root. So I am going to kick this off. And it is going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute, especially because I am based on the west coast of the United States. This server is in Germany. This is a German server. And the peering between my ISP Comcast and the Hetzner data center in Germany is famously bad. So I'm going to hit pause here, and I will unpause when it is done, and we will pick up from there. And here we are again about 8 minutes later. Oh no, actually 4 minutes later. It just felt twice as long to me. Here we are, 4 minutes and 23 seconds later, and the nixos-anywhere step has been completed. So the next thing for us to do will be to log in to the server via SSH. So we'll do SSH, and let's log in as root first. Now, as you can see, this actually took a minute for me. I'm not sure why. I think it might be the peering, but I have noticed this at least the first time after the installation. I've been through this process a couple of times. I'm not sure if it's just me and the bad peering situation to Comcast in the US, but it does eventually come up with this error, right? The remote host identification has changed, and that's because we wiped everything on this server, which means we wiped the host keys and we generated some brand new host keys. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. It'll be these 3 at the bottom in my case. And then let's try again. And see, this time it was really quick. It's a little fishy, I don't know, but it works. So we accept the new host key, and then we are into robot. And robot doesn't have anything because robot is root. But you know, we're here, we have the Nix store, we have everything. Very nice. So we can do this as well with our user account. And here we are in the user account as well. Let me just bring that to the top. So let's see. We said we were going to take a look at the git config. So config git config. And here you can see that we have our secret tokens interpolated in. Do be mindful that this is in the Nix store, so if you just have a static git config file that you feel easier encrypting completely, that's also a perfectly wise choice. And I think the other one was it the Nix config? .nix. Huh. I don't know where the Nix config lives. Cat etc nix conf. Here it is, and then we have our access tokens here as well. Very nice. So let's exit out of this, and very quickly I just want to make a change. Maybe we'll add a package, and I'm going to walk you through how to deploy changes with deploy rs as well. So let's add the package bat, which is in my opinion, nicer version of the command cat that we just used. So we come on down here, and we copy and we paste, basically. Since we have such a powerful server, I do like to use the remote build option. We pass S to skip any checks or tests, just while we're doing this quickly on the video, and then we're targeting .robot. So let me just bring that up quickly in flake.nix. This means we're targeting the node robot. That's the name of the node. And then obviously you'll replace this as well with your own IP address for your own server. So let's go ahead. And so what this is going to do locally, I believe this is the way it works. Locally, it builds, or it figures out what is needed to build the system. And then instead of sending over the binaries, it sends over the derivations, which are a lot smaller. Though there is one thing you need to build, which is deploy RS. I have to build that from scratch. I haven't found a way to get around that yet. But you know, it's not super duper difficult. And why don't we take a quick look also at deploy RS. Oh, here we are. Already at deploy RS. It is developed by, not by Numtide, by Serakel, the most bizarre company with the bravest ideas of functional programming in the world. Very cool. And you know, I use this to deploy Coolish, I use this to deploy Notado, I use this basically whenever I need to make any kind of updates to a server. This is what I personally use. I find it very intuitive, very easy, and once you get into it, it has a lot of nice additional options in there as well. So you can see it's copying maybe it's a bit too fast, but it's copying .drv files, which is why it's able to copy so fast. Usually if you were just SSH copying the entire built contents of the Nix store, it would take significantly longer. So I think this is the last one that it needs to send over. And then, you know, anything that needs to be pulled from the cache or anything like that, it gets pulled on the remote server. Even though it is a little bit faster, it's still very slow in this case because I am watching this happen over a very poorly peered connection. And now we're at the point where we're ready to activate. Excellent. So now that that's done, I can SSH in. You can see that took about 4 minutes for me. Not the slowest, also not the fastest. So now we have the bat command. What should I take a look at? The Z shell history. There you go. Fancy bat command that has been deployed using deploy rs. So I think that is it for today. I hope that Vexium, I hope that this was a good answer to your question, that it helped you out. I will say once more, do bear in mind that you need to customize this a little bit depending on the server that you buy, and especially if you buy a Hetzner auction server. I'm not sure where they are, but you can get some really cool Hetzner auction servers, bid on servers and save. And like they have, like if you want something with a whole load of drives, you can like 2 times 10 terabyte drives on, damn, that's a really good price. You can like up the minimum count as well for the different kind of RAID you want. 4 times 10 terabyte, oh my god, that's insane. Anyway, you can get a lot of cool stuff. Of course it is a little bit more difficult to manage bare metal, but NixOS does make it a little bit easier, and hopefully this Thane batteries included starter template makes it even easier still. If you enjoyed this video, if you found this video helpful, please do consider becoming a sponsor. I have a fair number of sponsors for the tiling window manager project, Komorebi. You can also be among them and get shoutouts at the end of all of the videos. In order to become a sponsor, I think you can just go onto any of the repositories and hit the sponsor button, and you'll be taken to this page. Now you can leave a tip as a one-time sponsorship, or you can become a monthly sponsor. And you know what? Even if it's $1 a month, it makes a huge difference to me. However, I understand that not everybody is in a position to become a sponsor, and that's why the very next best thing that you can do to support these kinds of tutorials, the development of Komorebi, the very next best thing that you can do is hit subscribe on the channel. We haven't had a lot of videos of my rabbits for a while. Maybe we'll get some more rabbit videos if there is interest, but there are a whole load of Komorebi tutorials here, which is the tiling window manager, a lot of live programming in Rust, developing that tiling window manager, Rust tutorials, and of course nixos tutorials. You may have noticed that on a lot of these videos now, YouTube is paying ads. Unfortunately, because I am not yet part of the 1,000 plus subscribers club, I do not get any of that sweet ad revenue. So I would really appreciate it if you could hit subscribe and help get us over the line over 1,000 subscribers. Alright my friends, I think that is pretty much everything for today. Check out the template, start the template. If you have any questions, reach out to me in the comments, reach out to me in the Discord. Yeah, I hope that whatever you all do today, you have a great day. Free Palestine, and I'll see you all back here next time.